If you have 10 minutes a day, I can show you how to get strong and flexible hips. All right, I'm gonna show you 5 different movements, then I'll talk about how to put them together to make sure that you have a simple workout that you can do a couple days a week to strengthen those hips, right? The first move is gonna be called the seated clam. It's pretty simple. You're just gonna come to the edge of the chair, you're gonna bring your feet together, and all we're gonna do is open our hips as wide as possible, allow the ankles to roll to the outside until we feel the muscles on the outside of our hips firing a little bit, and then squeeze our legs together until we feel these muscles on the inner thighs firing together. And we're just gonna go back and forth like this, opening the hips, squeezing those glute muscles on the outside of the hips, and then closing the hips and squeezing those thigh muscles. Just going back and forth to warm up the hips and create a little bit more flexibility in the adductors and the external rotators of the hips. Now, once we're done with that, we're gonna bring our body into a wide stance as far as we can while making sure that our toes are turned out and our knees are pointing the same direction as our toes. And we're gonna do what's called a seated good morning, okay? The most important thing with this move is to not round your back. So as I'm doing this, I'm not coming forward like this and rounding my back and then extending my back. That's gonna put my spine in a bad position. Instead, from the tailbone to the top of the head is gonna stay in one straight line as I come forward and backward. Now for some people, you might only be able to go forward this far and backward this far without rounding your spine. That's totally fine. The goal is over time to work your belly between your thighs, inhaling as we go down, exhaling and pushing into the heels to drive us back to that tall position, right? And slowly create more range of motion over time. If this is still too hard, you could bring your legs more forward and that could make it a little bit easier for you to bend a little bit more forward. But over time, we want those feet right in front of the chair, shins vertical, and bringing the belly down and back up with a nice flat spine. All right, the third move is the sit to stand. You can see this is an easy flow because we're just going from a seated position to a standing position. Sit to stand, a little bit more narrow of a stance, toes turned outward, so kind of right outside hip width. And again, important note here, knees go the same direction as toes. Don't let the knees wobble in like this as you stand up. From there, arms come out front, push the heels into the ground, do that bow forward that we just did with the seated good morning, and then press the heels into the ground and stand up and extend like this. Inhale as we go down, push the butt back. Exhale as we extend the hips as we stand back up. If you need to as well, you can put your hands on your knees for support, and you can do it this way to make it a little bit easier. All right, now once we've done sit to stands, we can do a side lunge. So what you can do here is take a wider stance like this. If you need to, you can put the chair in front of you and hold the back of the chair for support. All right, toes turned outward like this. And what we're gonna do is bend one knee and come down, and we're gonna turn the other toe towards the sky like this. And at first, what you might do is just start by bending the knee a little bit, turning the toe. Doesn't have to be very far, just a little bend, a little turn of the toe. We're trying to open the hips up and strengthen the opposite leg at the same time. Over time, we wanna work our depth in this, coming down as low as we can as we go from side to side in the side lunge, all right? So once you've done side lunges, then we got one more move for you, the frog deadlift. This one's gonna be a wide stance, just like the seated good morning. We're going to push the butt back, keep the weight on the heels, and just like the seated good morning, no rounding of the back. We're gonna drop the knees and come down as far as we can without rounding the back and then back up. All right, so the moment you start to go like this, that's as far as you can go because of the flexibility of your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves, okay? So come down as far as you can, press your heels on the ground, and come back up just like this, all right? And eventually we'll work down to coming all the way down to the ground and back up like this. So those are the 5 moves: seated clams, good morning, sit to stand, side lunges, frog deadlifts. Now, how do you put this together into a simple routine? All you gotta do is 1 minute of each move, rest what you need to rest in between, and then do that 2 times around, and do this at least 2 days a week. If you do that for a few weeks, your hips are gonna be stronger and more flexible, and they're gonna feel so much better. Because remember, when you move your body better, you feel better in your body. Now, if you like this workout and you want more simple workouts that you can do from home, check out WeShape by clicking the link above.